All right. Check. We are checking the connection here. All right, looks like we're live. Awesome. It is 8:10 a.m. Eastern, Tuesday, March 26, 2028. And we are getting ready to rock and roll here. We've got some news coming out. Let's go ahead and quickly go over the schedule. I did a bit of live streaming yesterday. Ended up having a pretty, decent day. I made like $1,800 across a couple different funded accounts, but could have made more. I was kind of not really focused. Anyways, today I want to be more focused. And we have durable goods coming out at 8:30. That could move the market. We've got house price index at 9 a.m. That could move the market. We've got consumer confidence at 10 a.m. Not Michigan. That's the consumer board. So that'll move the market 10 a.m. And let's see if we have any sneaky bond auctions. These are the ones that we do have a 5-year note auction at 1. Yeah, so some decent news today. So that's exciting. And what we're going to do is we are going to trade some Top Step Express funded accounts. We'll also trade some UProfit live funded accounts. And let's just have a lot of fun. That's really what it's all about. What we're going to do here, you can see I've got, I'm going to focus on, yesterday I was experimenting with a new streaming setup with a 4-hourly and the hourly chart. But to be honest, time-based charts just suck. So I'd rather just use my volume-based charts on the major markets that I like to trade the most. And that's how we're going to swing it. So these are also the best markets to trade. You can see the markets down here, guys. You've got the major futures markets that I trade. You got ES and QYM. Ultra bonds here, gold, silver, and crude oil. These are also the biggest contracts. So when you start off on these funding, when you get funded, you're limited until you make a certain amount of profit. You're limited with 3 contracts typically. So therefore, you want to trade a market that has the potential to pay you for those 3 contracts. You don't want to be trading something small. I thought about that yesterday when I made a great move on platinum, and it's just the contract on platinum is just the size is too small. Like, I ended up having a pretty big move that I captured, and you don't really get paid all that much. So you want to get paid for the moves you're capturing. So it's better to trade these futures markets with larger contracts, relatively speaking. All right, so that's what we're going to do. And we're just going to kind of check things throughout the session here, look for good setups, put them on, and have some fun. And you can see here, this is the daily chart to the far right. Here's the weekly. Here's the monthly. This is ES. We're still very, very bullish here on the monthly ES. The weekly is probably going to have a lot of support down in here. That's why I was calling for support yesterday. I just got a little bit surprised that we pushed that far through the support level. But now you can see we're bouncing nicely. We'll see. Is it going to be, one of these days where we just rip higher, or are we going to kind of get choppy in here? I think it's going to be choppy, similar to yesterday, where you're going to see a range. So for ES today, you can see yesterday was here, right? So this was yesterday on the ES, on the volume-based intraday charts. Kind of a range. We're going to be looking for a similar range here, I think. I don't expect a breakaway market to the upside, even though the monthly is very bullish. The daily did go for congestion entrance down there, and I don't know. I don't think it's just going to rip back to the upside. It might, but we'll just have to see. I mean, we're going to have to use the scoreboard to see what we've got shaken. You can see right here, we've got treasuries are being bid, so yields are dropping. Crude is up, the dollar's down. So you've got a pretty risk-on type of board right here. So I think, probably focus on longs, but don't be too afraid of some shorts if some decent ones set up. But right now with the scoreboard, I think you got to focus on the longs, especially with rates dropping. Metals are bid. Everything's pretty much bid. So that's what we're going to be looking for on ES and QYM. I think YM was interesting. That's the Dow, because you're a little bit weaker on the weekly here, and the daily yesterday was quite a bit weaker. So I think the short side on the Dow might be a little bit safer than maybe the short side on, say, ES. We just kind of keep that in mind, see if we can remember it. Let's look at gold and silver. I expect a lot of chop. Gold is finally starting to push higher here. Yeah, I mean, I think you got to be bullish gold today with breaking through these old highs here, pushing higher. So, you know, won't be afraid to long gold at some point, potentially. Let's look at silver here. Silver is kind of similar. I think we're going to see a pretty good push to the upside on silver today, coming out of some strong weekly support. So, silver, going to look to play the long side. And then crude, also want to look long. I missed a good long earlier. I just wasn't paying attention during London. But here's the crude volume-based chart. And you can see you had a really good buy into this triple bottom support here. I saw it right after it happened. And I thought, had I seen it 10 minutes earlier, I would have bought it. But woulda, coulda, shoulda doesn't get you paid. So that's the way you just got to look at it. All right. So with that said, we got all the analysis out of the way. This is how we're going to play it today. Now here for ES, you know, that's, by the way, just so you guys know how this works, these are volume-based charts here. So each one of these bar charts is based on 80,000 contracts for ES. On NQ, it's based on 40,000 contracts. You can always see it counting down over here. When you get 40,000 contracts, this red bar, which is showing the volume count, will be the same height as this red bar here. And then you go over to a new bar. So these are volume-based bars. So the NASDAQ is 40,000 contracts. ES, like I said, is 80,000 contracts. And this is just a formula I use based on, you know, the overall amount of daily volume, average daily volume. Then I just take a percentage of that and calculate the volume-based bars. So here for the Dow, you got 8,000 contracts. And you can see where we just got a close here. It's a little bit of a resistance pattern here on the Dow. You know, is it one I would want to short? Probably not with the current scoreboard. You do have some resistance here on the Dow, but I think I wouldn't really be interested in the resistance until up into the extension, the middle of the moving average envelope. So I wouldn't short the Dow here. And this is the way we do it, guys. We just go ahead and look for different patterns, types of trading that conform to my trading plan using Owings market analysis. And we just try and, you know, stay on the right side of the market, which is awesome. And if you have any questions, why did I change the name of the channel for Funded Futures Fanatic? Because I am pretty fanatical about funded futures. I love funded futures, and I want that to be the focus of the channel. You know, I have other students who trade the, you know, Owings market analysis. They take the course, Owings trading, all that stuff. But I just think that Owings trading is a little too corporate for YouTube. YouTube's not really a corporate place, so it's just more fun to set it up as Funded Futures Fanatic, have fun. But I still use all my Owings trading stuff, obviously. OwingsTrading.com is still up and running, and we've got students who are thriving, doing really, really well. So that's all well and good. I just want to take the focus of the channel toward the funded futures because I think that's where the buzz is at the moment on YouTube, and that's quite frankly the buzz is there because it's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. It's a good model. All right, so ES here, you can see we've got we're only at 13,000 contracts, right? So we got a ton of contracts left to trade. The question here is, you know, is this an exhaust that we would want to short for a move back down here somewhere? You know, it could be, but I think given the current state of the scoreboard, you know, with rates dropping, strong euro against the dollar, I don't really know if I want to short ES right here. You can see on the daily, because we always want to ask ourselves, where are these patterns taking place, right? Because on ES right now, the main issue is if I want to get short because I think that's an exhaust, right? Let's say an exhaust is when something blasts up, you know, takes out a bunch of stops into resistance and then reverses back to the downside, right? So I have to ask myself, is this an exhaust pattern? It's definitely an exhaust pattern, but is it actually going to follow through and break out, or does it have the potential to reverse? In order to answer that question, I've got to look at the daily chart and ask myself, okay, where is that exhaust pattern on the intraday volume-based chart on ES? Where is that happening in relation to the daily? Okay, right into 5,300. That's pretty good. You got a nice extension right there. connect this low through that high, extend it out, you get that pink dot. So you've got some resistance there at 5,300. I know there's a lot of option stuff sitting up there. Reading through the Zero Hedge Premium subscription this morning, 5,300 is kind of an options wall for right now on the SPYs, and 5,200 to the downside. So, this is probably not a terrible place to get short up into, this 5,300 level. It certainly could be worth a shot. So I'm going to think about it. We got some news coming out in 9 minutes. I might short ES just because it's not a bad place to consider a short, especially maybe, try and get short a little poke through that high right there, short. You got a very low risk shot here, right? Because if you just say, okay, I'm willing to get short right up through that high. Well, if you're wrong, just use like a 5-6 point stop. No big deal. But if you're right and it, goes from 53.01, 53.02, back down to 52.85 or something, that's a nice little move, right? So I'm going to set up for that. I might take that trade. Which account would I want to take it on? Probably UProfit. I would take it on, I got that UProfit trade there. Beautiful. Set something up here. Switching stuff around a little bit there, because I have so many funded accounts now, you guys. I have to really prepare for these trades, because I have to make sure I'm on the right funded account. They all have different rules, things like that. So you got to just kind of keep that in mind. Let's see here. And just getting this all, because we got the news coming out here in a few minutes. So, so ES, I think definitely there is a chance that I would want to short this potentially. And again, I would do it on my UProfit account, which I have that DOM on one of my other screens. This is my Top Step funded account DOM here. You can see when I open trades, you guys, you'll be able to see the funded trades open here. So if I execute it on Top Step, you'll see it here. But if I execute it on my Rhythmic DOM for UProfit, you'll just see down here, you'll see this one, for example, the ES. You can see that's my DPT 620 down here in the bottom left, guys. Right there. That is the Rhythmic account here that I would be placing. If I short the ES, I'll be taking on that account that has a balance of just over 200 grand. So you can see these Rhythmics, these are 200,000 accounts. So the top two are basically break even right around 200 grand. And then this is the one I'm up 3 grand right now. That's my NASDAQ account, because on the UProfit, they don't really want you to, if you get a bunch of funding with them, they don't want you to, like let's say I have another UProfit account on the way. I'll have 4 200K accounts. That'll take me to the 1.55 million in funding. And they just don't want you to, like trade all of your funding on, let's say, the NASDAQ. So they were clear with me about that. They said, look, you can get as much funding as you want, but you got to, spread it around in terms of the markets you make your money on. So, okay, that's fine. I can trade on any markets. That doesn't matter. Anyway, so this is my ES account for UProfit. And I would bring it over here for you guys to see, but it's got my account number on it, and I don't feel like, trying to hide all that stuff. So I'll execute it, I'll tell you, and then you'll see it over here. So that is ES right there. Let's see, NQ, we've got, NQ is looking pretty bullish. I mean, generally speaking, if you're going to short ES, you kind of want to see some hope for NQ to also get smashed. And right now, NQ looks very bullish to me. So that right there is a red flag. This is how I get my funding, guys. This is why I have so much funding. And this is why when I get funding, I get, pretty steady results, because I'm very selective about the trades that I pick. I'm using the correlations with the overall market here. What are rates doing? What's the dollar doing? What are the metals doing? What are the energies doing? And then plugging that all into my, Owings market analysis levels, patterns, types of trading. It just gives a nice, sort of soup of good setups. But you have to know what to look for, and you just got to, the number one thing is staying out of trouble. So for ES, back to what I'm talking about here. Okay, yeah, I like the idea of shorting up here like I just outlined. I really do. You got some resistance up in here. You're at a pretty good level. I like it. I do. And it may drop. But when I look at the NASDAQ, it's like, this NASDAQ's a little too bullish. You see, we broke through all this resistance here. We smashed straight up and through the extension here. I mean, that's bullish right there on the NASDAQ. So, these things track each other pretty much one-to-one. So you got to ask yourself, do I want to be shorting ES when I see a pretty bullish breakout here on the NASDAQ, no, I don't. So I prefer when they match up, and I'm very content just to sit and wait for good trades, right? That's really what it's all about. So for the ES, I won't be shorting that. We got the news coming out in 5 minutes. So let's see. I want to find something trade on the news potentially. NASDAQ's looking bullish, but I don't really see anything I really want to trade on the news there. The Dow, we already determined we're not really high enough into our daily resistance zone to want to short that. So we're going to wait on the Dow. Here are the ultra bonds. You know, the bonds can be good to trade during the news. If we look at the daily chart of the bonds, we'll go to UBM24. That's the ultra bonds daily chart there. I mean, I do think, yeah, oh yeah, very bullish today. Very bullish. A lot of support. I think we're going back up to 131. I really do. I mean, we'll have to see. But I like bonds from the long side today, which means what? Rates coming down, right? Rates coming down, probably a stronger dollar, weaker dollar today. I think all this is going to benefit the stock market. It's going to benefit gold, silver, probably bonds. We'll see. You know, this is constantly changing throughout the day. But I think heading into this news announcement, we got a lot of support. So I would just look at this and go, okay, do I want to use my UProfit bonds account, which is my third account. It's the one here with, sorry, on this list, it's the top. It's that account right there, 1999995. That's my bonds account. So if I want to trade bonds on that, that is the question. We've got a very bullish setup today on bonds. Let me see if I want to trade that account. That would basically be that one there. Just, you know, guys, I got to always make sure that the DOM is reflecting the correct account number. Just believe me, when you have so many funded accounts, sometimes you think you're executing on one, but it's another one, and they've got different rules. So you just got to be careful. So here's the bonds. Yeah, this one here, I might be willing to roll the dice here, guys, on bonds. Let me just see here. Second. And what would I risk on that trade? I guess I would risk about $1,500, which I can only do 3 contracts. So that would basically be about 15 ticks of risk on the bonds, right? And maybe go for, I don't know, 30 ticks or so in profit, something like that. Let me just get my, gotta get that up here. There's UB. A lot to set up here. All right, we got the ultra bond there. Let's make sure that I've got 3 contracts. Quant Tower. I might go long bonds here. I'm going to let you know. Target, stop, 3 contracts. Yes. All right. So I've got that going. I got to set the default here to 3 contracts. The trading off of Rhythmic, guys, can be a little bit, a little special. So, all right. Oh, we got about 1 minute, so we're going to have to get ready here. All right. So here's the bonds. These are working on 20,000 contracts here, guys. So we're working on this pattern here. I would say, you know, I like if we get a move down here to, you know, 127.10, that's where I could definitely be interested in longing the bonds on my one of my UProfit accounts. And we'll just watch this one since the news is coming out now in about 20 seconds. We already made a good you know, decision why we're not going to trade any of the indices for right now. And bonds are more active as well during the 8 o'clock hour than the indices typically are. All right, we got 15 seconds. I'm looking for something down here, 127.10. If we were get a spike down there, I might buy. So let's see how that goes. It happens fast sometimes, so sometimes you just don't have a chance either. There's the move. There's the news. Remember, don't pay any... Well, I can bring this DOM up for you guys here, even though this is top step, but at least you can see. I'm looking to get long, you know, down there around the lows. 127.8, something like that, down in here. But remember, it's going to be on my UProfit account, which I got to execute on another screen, and then you'll see it here. But I'll let you know. Let's see if we get down there first. I mean, it's still Still 10 ticks away. Gotta definitely get some water here soon. Digging it, we're feeling good. We're ready to rock and roll today. Spring is on the way here, hopefully soon. All right, I'm up about 8 grand, I think, you know, basically 8 grand across these different funded accounts. I'm still kind of figuring out the best way to trade them. It's harder than you think when you have so many funded accounts. I mean, it's a good problem to have, but you got to really think through. Do you want to copy trade them? Do you want to split them up? I mean, because I'm very aggressive. I either want to blow them out or get a big payout. Like I'm not really interested in, like, you know, making 2 grand a month for each one of these accounts. That doesn't really do much for me. So I want to really go big and aggressive, still at the right, you know, times, the best circumstances. And then if I blow it, I'll just go easily past a challenge again, because it's not that hard for me to pass the challenges. So but I'm still figuring out how to actually, once I get the funded accounts, you know, how do I want to trade these? So that's kind of what I'm working on. Anyways, I got all 1.55 million of this in under a month, so that was good. And now I've been actively kind of trading these, I don't know, for a couple of weeks, something like that. So to be up 8 grand is all right, but it needs to get a lot more aggressive, which we're going to do here on stream, which is going to be a lot of fun. Because, you know, I see a lot of YouTubers out there, you know, talking a lot on stream and like showing, hey, look, I made this amount of money, you know, off stream. Like, that's good. Why don't you ever make any money on stream? You know, I see a lot of nice guys out there. I mean, I have nothing against them personally, but they're talking about how they're making all this money, and every time I see them on stream, they just lose money. I'm like, okay, that's weird. I don't know. Maybe they just choke on stream. It is harder to trade in front of people. I do get that, but some of these guys have some pretty good payouts, but they just can't do it live. I don't know. We'll see how I do. I mean, when I was streaming before in January, before I got really sick, I was killing it live. So I'd like to get back into that, but it requires a lot of energy. You got to have a lot of wind in your sails to, you know, be out there in front of people, execute your trades, you know, talk about the analysis. But I actually find that when I have the energy, I trade better live, because it just kind of keeps me more accountable. And because I'm trying to talk you guys through what I'm seeing, I'm sort of paying even that much more attention for myself. I'm actually more dialed in when I trade on YouTube with you guys than I do, even if there's nobody watching. I still, for myself, one day people will watch these when they see, you know, 50, 100,000 in payouts, then that'll, you know, make people interested in what we're doing, and they'll be able to come back and watch these videos. So that's why I conduct myself here as if there's lots of people watching, because one day there will be. All right, so that's that. So with the bonds here, we're not really getting the flush down here yet, but, you know, it might come. We're going to keep an eye on this, because bonds, you know, even if I was kind of hoping the news would give us a quick, you know, flush down here to get long, not looking like that happened, but we're going to keep an eye on bonds here throughout the day, because if we get a nice pullback into this support level, we're going to buy it later, because we have a bullish bias on the daily and the weekly charts. It's really important. Bonds should come rocketing out of this support level today, which is why we'll wait for a long position. And again, we'll do that on the UProfit account. What are we going to trade on? So on the UProfit accounts down here, guys, in the bottom left, you can see I've got these 3 here. The fourth one's on the way right now. These are all 200K accounts. So on this account, the top one, I trade my bonds on that account. On the middle one, I trade ES, and on the bottom one that's up 3 grand, I trade NQ. And again, I have to do this with UProfit, because they told me, because before I even started with UProfit, guys, I know how to trade, so I know I was going to pass the challenges. So I sent them an email ahead of time, and I said, look, I'm going to go for $1 million in funding, you know, and I'm going to get it quickly with your company. So, you know, are you okay with that? Do you have an account minimum? And UProfit wrote back, and they were really friendly, and they said, look, you can get as much funding as you want. You want to get $1 million, fine, you go for $1 million. They probably thought I was nuts, but now a month later that I have almost $1 million with them, now they realize I'm not nuts. So they said, look, you can get as many accounts as you want, but just be aware that we don't want you trading them all on the same sort of strategy. So in other words, what they wouldn't want is, like, if I was trading the NASDAQ, okay, guys, I got to get ready here, because I might get long down here. So sorry about that. It's kind of dropping down here toward I'm looking at the daily low now to get long, somewhere down in here. And it would be with about a 15 tick stop, which on my UProfit account with 3 contracts, I risk $1,500, because I have 5,000 in draw on that account. And like I said, like, I have really no benefit of not going aggressive. Let's see. I'll continue telling you about my U-Profit story. I just don't want to miss the trade. And I definitely need a glass of water here soon. All right, so I'm looking. You guys see, this is the top step DOM, so don't worry about this. Even though this is top step, I'm going to be executing on my rhythmic DOM because I'm not putting a top step funded account on this bonds trade yet. I might do it here in a moment, but typically I'm just going to rotate accounts, right? So if I trade this on the bonds, I might trade another market on my top step account, and I just kind of rotate them around, still very aggressively, but in a semi-diversified way. So some of them will win, some of them will lose, and the goal is to get a few of them through to some heavy payouts and blow out the rest, because that's the way it's going to work when you're, trading a bunch of funded accounts aggressively. All right, so we're getting down here toward the day's low. I think the lower we go down here, it's just a better buy. So I'm just kind of waiting to see, is this going to be the low, or are we going to go lower? I mean, I think we're getting into the zone here now where I'm going to have to buy this, because this might be all she wrote. I'm going to wait. I mean, it might suck up now because we're right at this good support level, but I kind of want these lows. You see these lows and these lows. Just these markets, guys, they love to go back and hit the lows or the highs. If you're going to be going long, they love to go back to the lows. So here, these lows at about 6. I guess my ideal spot to get long down here would be about 5. 127.05. Now, we may not get there, but we might, and I'll set an order there here in a moment. I got to run and get a glass of water here real quick. I just don't want to miss this trade. Just give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to just sprint upstairs, get a glass of water. I'll be back in like 20 seconds, and then hopefully this thing will be down here and I can buy it. That'd be a blast. All right, guys, were we missing it? Yeah, it's bouncing a little bit. Oh, I had to get some lemon water there. That was nice. So that might be the low. We didn't even get back to the low. What do we make there? We made a low of like 9 or something. So it's kind of decision time. I mean, there's a lot of support here. Yeah. You know what? I'm determined to I wait for the close of the bar. It's just an easier way to trade. So I'm going to wait. This one still has, 7,000. I mean, I would get long down here, but I can't chase it up here because it might close down here. We still have about 6,500 contracts left till this closes. And there's a chance it could suck all the way back up now and close up in here. Definitely could. This could be the flush on the news. So we'll just wait. I know I want to get long down here below 8. And, every tick, makes a big difference on 3 contracts. It's $100 a tick, basically. It's 31.25 a tick. So it's like $93 a tick on 3 contracts. So, I go grab one more thing. Hang on. All right, guys. If we can get long here, if we just go down to like 7. Down around those lows. All right, we're getting there. And then we just put the trade on and it just kind of does what it does. Not much we can do about it after that. I'm just looking for a little bit of a push through the lows to get long. Right here you can see the lows at 7. But again, I'm looking to get long here. I could get long on a top step account as well, I guess. Oops. Wrong button. I gotta switch this top step account here. Give me a sec. All right, guys, I had to switch the account number there. That's why. So this is my top step funded. Three accounts there. Okay, that's nice. So I'll probably get long here on top step and this one here for UProfit. So we'll see. See if we can get a little bit of a push. So I'm going to try and get long, guys. Top step 3 contracts on one of my funded accounts and the UProfit 3 contracts. I'm just looking for a little bit of a push down through these lows. You know, basically right into about 6. I'll set the order there. Set the order at 6. So I'm just trying to get long through the lows here. And then we'll just have to see what happens. It was close. Trying to get long at 7. All right, we are long. The stop is 24 right there. That's good. The stop is 24 on our other one. And the target is up around 128. So we'll see, guys. We're long. Either support is going to hold or it's not. You know, there's not much else to it. Normally, I would wait for this bar to close here. But, you know, just given what we've got here on the daily and the weekly, I mean, there's a lot of support here. There really is. Okay, can it break? Yeah, it can break. And if it does, we will take a loss on these accounts. But, you know, there's a lot of support right here that we got to give it a chance to see if it can hold and push back up in here. So that's why I'm willing to take this shot. And then, you know, we'll see what's going to happen. So that's all you can do, guys, is just say, look, this is the area that I want to transact. You put the trade on. Sometimes it'll work. Sometimes it won't. You know, you can't really do a whole lot about it. So that's why we're long bonds. So you can see basically here on UProfit, it's this top account. You'll see the P&L shifting. Here you can see right there, right? That's the bonds. I got 3 contracts long. You can see right here, long exposure. So 3 contracts long here on UProfit. And we've got 3 contracts long on Top Step. Our stop is in. We're risking about $1,500 on each one of these accounts. You know, how much would we like to make? It really just depends. I mean, I'd like to make, you know, 2 to 1, but, you know, don't always get that. We'll just have to see. If we start to get into profit, we just take it as it comes. That's all we can do. All right. So that trade is in. There's not a whole a whole lot more we can do right now with that trade. Let's go ahead and look at, so ES, you can see it did end up pulling back here from these highs as we were kind of suggesting, but I don't regret, you know, not shorting that. That was fine. I'm happy with the bonds regardless of what happens. This is a good trade. You know, sometimes you can get a little bit, you know, like I went in here before this bar closes, and sometimes that can be dangerous, but there is a lot of support there on the daily, so I just had to take a shot there on bonds. So we're long bonds. Again, we'll see what happens. ES here, we're waiting. We got 28,000 contracts. So we're still quite a ways till we get to 80,000 contracts here. So we'll wait till that closes. The NASDAQ, okay, yeah, even though it's looking bullish, but is that an exhaust for a reversal? Could be. I think you're going to see just a kind of a choppy day here. I think it's going to be kind of choppy, and a lot will just depend on, you know, what the dollar does, what bonds do. So we'll just have to wait and see. But the NASDAQ, okay, this is going to close here in about 1,000 contracts. So what we like to do is we look at this and go, okay, is there a trade opportunity there? Do we have a pattern, you know, that we want to trade? And right now, looking at this, I'd say no. I'm going to let that go. There's nothing, you know, so nothing screaming at me there that I want to go in on the NASDAQ right now. So we'll wait on that. But this is how we want to do it. We want to check these closes every time there's a new close on the volume-based intraday bar. So here's the Dow. We got quite a ways to go for the Dow. No big deal there. You see the ultra bonds. This is what we are currently long, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. Look, this is a strong support level here, so it's either gonna hold and push us higher, or it's gonna break and, you know, it's gonna go down and hit our stop. You can't know until you bet. That's really what it's all about. I mean, it's a little dangerous in the sense that you see yesterday you had a similar pattern here. You see how you fired up there, took out the stops above those highs right here, right? You see this? There were those highs. You fired up, took out some stops, reversed, and then you kept going. So here you can see we did fire up, but we didn't take out those highs here. So there shouldn't be, you know, a lot of trapped longs or anything that need to bail. So that's a good sign. Doesn't mean we're going to be right. I'm just looking at the different signs here. And so the question really is we're buying here because there's, you know, quite a bit of daily support here. Is that going to be enough to hold us and push us back up toward those highs in congestion? I mean, I think it should be. That's why I bought it, but you never can tell until you make it happen. It's all about. All right, so that's the ultra bonds. We're long. This is going to close in 3,000 contracts. I'd like it to close, you know, if it sucks up, it'll give me more confidence in the position. That's for sure. I'll keep an eye on this at the close very carefully. Right now, it's still looking a little heavy. It's right where we got in, but it's a little heavy for my taste right now. I'd like it to suck up, close up in here, maybe around 127.8 or 9, and then continue to push higher. But we'll see. We're going to know here in about 2,500 contracts when this closes. All right, let's look at gold. Gold, we run on the 20,000 contract chart here. I think gold will be bullish today, but gold's a tricky market to trade. Anyways, we got some room before this closes. We just had this close here, right there. Is that anything we want to mess with? No. We'll wait and let gold kind of just do what it needs to do. Let's look at silver. So silver here, I'm gonna fix these. This is the volume counter here on silver. All right, so silver we run on 3,000 contracts. You can see we're getting close here. That's not really one I want to mess with for right now on silver. Crude, I did like that buy earlier. We run crude on 25,000 contracts, so still got a ways for that to close there. But any kind of a flush today on crude down into 81.20, anywhere down here, that's where I'd be, you know, maybe looking to want to buy crude. later today, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. Let's go ahead. Right now, really UB is what we're on, so it's trying to push lower. But let's see what that news came out. Let's see what Zero Hedge has to say about the news. I think it was durable goods that came out. They rebounded. Let's see, in January, in February. Okay. Just reading here. Yeah, I mean, the news here certainly could be bond market negative. That's for sure. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this right here. Like I said, I'd like this to kind of suck up here a little bit more. If this doesn't give me a stronger close, I might have to bail on it with a small loss. All right, so we're going to see. We're going to get a close here in about 700 contracts. The 5-year and the 10-year about break even. The 30-year and the Ultra are also about break even. The Euro's still up against the dollar. Indices are still up for now. That was a pretty strong beat on the durable goods there. So I'm going to wait for this to close. I'd like it to close back above 7 or 8, but if it doesn't, I might have to bail real quick. And I'll wait till we have 600 contracts left here. Tempted to get out now because it's just kind of not reacting to the support level the way that I wanted to. All right, so we're out. And that's no harm, no foul. We lost 180 bucks on each one of those accounts. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if this was a good call that I got out or not. But I had my reasons for getting in, for sure. And just to recap this for myself, because I like to review my own video. But you know, I got in because I anticipate a lot of support into this level right here, right? That's why I got in there. I waited to get in at a good spot, but I was really counting on this bar here hitting this support, and I wanted to see buyers stepping in and pushing this back up here. Right now, that's not happening. And we're, you know, it looks like we're potentially breaking the extension and the congestion and these lows. So it might be a fake out, but it looks heavy to me. And you've got the 5-year and the 10-year also heading a little bit lower. You had that really strong durable goods beat, which, you know, could send bonds lower. It may not. This might be a fake out, and I might regret closing it, but I don't regret anything because I make the decisions based on the markets that I'm seeing, right? So for this right here, the fact that it's closing on the low and breaking all my support, I can't, you know, if it goes up, and then I'm not in, and that's fine because I have to trade the market that I see in front of me. And right here, what I'm seeing in front of me is I don't want to be long. So rather just take the loss of 187 bucks, you know, rather than just hope and pray just because I went in, it has to work. No. That's not how I trade. So anyways, that was first trade of the day. No harm, no foul. And let's go ahead now and look at ES here. So we'll see what happens here with that hot durable goods order. See if I can put my top step trades that I've already placed. Looking for something for you guys here. Looking to see how I keep a running tab for you guys. You can see on the trader dashboard here, that's a good running tab. You can see I'm down 187, but on Top Step, they show the position open, but now I want to see where I can show you close positions. Top Step, let me see. Maybe on trades. Okay. Where we'll put. So here we'll have the open position. We'll have the open positions here. And then we will have the trades we placed here. That should be good. What do you guys think? I think that makes for a pretty good scoreboard right there. Well, you know, you guys can see the open positions, I think, right? Yeah, you can see it on the DOM once I'm in the trade, so I actually don't need this one here. This back. What we want to see is we want to see the tally. We will have this like this. So now you can see here. So Top Step, I'm down 187. U Profit, I'm down 187. There you go, guys. Full transparency. We're doing it. I love it. And now we are going to wait for a little bit like that. We're going to wait for some closes. Let's see what we got here. So ES, we got a ways to go here. No biggie. Let's look at NQ. I mean, it's a nice little pullback there on NQ. But I don't think I want to buy that. It's just not. I'm just trying to wait for, you know, really good setups, and I'm not super nuts, even though NASDAQ is kind of strong for now. But the fact that we pushed up and we closed back inside these highs, we'll see what happens. I have no idea. I don't want to be buying that. So ES, we're going to be waiting till we get a close here. NQ, we just had a close. If this was a strong trending day, then yeah, this is something I could buy here on NQ, but it's not a strong trending day, so I don't want to buy it. On the Dow here, we still have a bit of a ways to go there till we get a close. So the Ultra bonds, we'll see. We did give them a shot. We bought, but in the end, I don't really like holding that long right there, based on how it reacted. So I took a small loss there on the Ultra bonds, which is fine. We get gold. You know, we're driving lower. This is the thing too with bonds and gold. This is why this market's kind of hard to trade, you guys, because we're just getting a lot of numbers that are all over the place. Like one week inflation's hot, the next week the economy's collapsing. Now we get this huge durable goods order like that, you know, oh, the economy's hot again. Rates are going to have to stay higher for longer. So you're getting a lot of back and forth right now, which make the market, you know, confused. And therefore you can see it in the technicals. It's a little harder to trade. So you got to keep that in mind. That said, let's have coffee while we read some news. Well, let's first check. So gold here, we don't really want to trade that right now. Let's look at silver. The silver is kind of similar to bonds. You see how you got that exhaust down. And now the question is, you know, is that a buy signal on silver? I mean, not really for me. When I look at, so the bonds are trying to stabilize here. We'll see. Maybe the bonds will stabilize. Maybe there's something in this durable goods order number that's, you know, maybe it's not so strong after all. You guys, you never know, right? But I closed my bonds position not because of the durable goods order itself, but because of the fact that we didn't see any reaction. You know, we closed on a dead low. Sure, we might spike back up now, but I just, I don't want to be in this and take any chances. If we're breaking support like this, just, it can do whatever it wants now. So gold, we'll see. Let's look at silver. Silver is kind of rallying here, but again, I want to see silver on the daily. What do I expect for silver today? Oops, that was copper. No, that was silver. Let's look at silver. No, that was copper. Okay. Yeah, so silver, I mean, it's tough, guys. You got a lot of resistance here on the monthly chart coming in about 25 bucks, but the weekly is trending up strongly. You got a nice pullback. So is this a nice pullback to, you know, push back up in here? It definitely could be. But if that's going to happen, the daily is going to have to round the bend to the upside. So I don't know. This is pretty tough trading right here. It's pretty choppy, right? So when I don't know what to make of a market, I tend to just stay away from it. So here's crude getting a little bit of a rally. We're going to get a close here soon because we're on a 25,000 contract bar. We're at 21,800. So 3,000 more contracts. We'll get a close. But again, I'm waiting for a flush down here for crude. So we've got our game plan all set up, ready to rock and roll for the upcoming day. And now we just follow these major markets and let the trades come to us and take our swings and see where we land at the end of the day. That's really all we can do. So that is what we shall do. All right. Check some emails. Read the news some more. Yeah, the big one is durable goods orders rebounding significantly. So that's really bearish for bonds, bullish for rates, bullish for the dollar, and bearish for stocks. So now we want to see, as the market digests that number, is the scoreboard going to reflect that strong durable goods number? Well, stocks are going to have to, you know, start selling off if that's the case. Bonds are already kind of trying to head down. They're reacting to durable goods orders. The dollar's still not doing a whole lot. If we look at the euro here on the daily chart, let's look at the euro futures, you guys. Here. So is this now just a little pump for a reversal? We'll see, because if the dollar starts reversing here and getting stronger against the euro, and bonds start dropping and rates start kicking back up, then we know we're going to be able to confidently sell rallies today on ES and NQ. So you see how you just put everything together and just let the market develop until you have the clear picture, then you take your shots. And if you get into a trade that you suddenly don't like because it, you know, broke a level or whatever, just get out like I did on bonds. I don't know what's going to happen now. All I know is I bought it for a reason, which is strong support. This close told me support's not as strong as I would like it to be. I don't want to stick around to find out. It can do whatever the hell it wants. I'm out, take a tiny loss, and move on to the next trade. That's really how you guys got to play it. All right, we got the stock market opening here in about 25 minutes, which will be fantastic. Meanwhile, we'll just kind of see where we are at the open. We might take a trade at the open. Certainly. We could I would trade probably, I mean, NQ is just so much better at the open than ES, but you can kind of get a good move on both of them. Just cycling through. So here's going to be a close on crude here momentarily. And, you know, you got some resistance up here right now, but again, this is not a place to short, not right now. Also not a place to long for me. I would prefer to long down in here somewhere. So let's wait and see. Back to ES and now NQ. I know a lot of people like NQ, so let's open up NQ here. All right. There we go. All right, guys, so we've kind of laid the foundation for the upcoming day. We know what we're looking for. Took one small loss on bonds here after the durable goods release, just 187 bucks, no big deal. That's basically a break even since I'm looking for $3,000 in profit. So I'm willing to risk 1,500 on a trade that I actually like and let it play out. So when I close something plus or minus a tick or two, you know, just move on and head to the next one. But I think bonds are I think right now what the market is telling us is that bonds are potentially breaking through some pretty good support levels, meaning that rates are pushing higher. The dollar, if it really starts to claw back some against these early gains by the euro, you know, you're going to see potentially a stronger dollar, weaker bonds, stronger rates, and that should weigh on the stock market. So if that's the case, then we're going to go ahead and look to, you know, start getting short. And I'm just going to wait for the right setups to appear. So if we're heading into the open here for the NASDAQ, since I'm not really seeing anything on, remember, we're tracking crude, which we're going to get a close on here momentarily, which we're not interested yet until we get a flush down here later into about 81.20. So we're on a standby pattern here on crude. Silver, I'm not really sure what's going on today, so we're going to just wait and just see if silver clears up. Otherwise, we'll kind of not pay too much attention to it today. Gold, we're also... gold's kind of a tricky one for today, but we'll see what sets up. We'll follow it throughout the day. Bonds are the big one. This is where I tried to buy, but immediately when we closed on the lows, I just bailed at, you know, -2 ticks, because that's a strong support level on the daily and the weekly charts. And after that strong durable goods number that came out, ooh, you know, that's pretty inflationary, right? So then bonds are going to drop and rates are going to go up. And I don't want to be holding long bonds, you know, when I can clearly see with my technicals that we're breaking through the support that I thought should be really strong, right? So that's a good lesson in trade management. If you get into a trade because you like what you see, if it starts to fail, it's sort of a balance, right? You don't want to cut it too soon. You got to give the trade a chance to work. But what I like to do is I give it a chance to work when, you know, let's say this trade here, had it closed back up above all this support here that I was counting on once I was long, then yeah, I'll give this thing a chance to work. If it starts going against me, I'll let it ride. And if it goes, it'll have to go down and hit my stop. But only if I see signs that, let's say in this case, the support right here, right? All this support that I'm betting on bonds, right? I bought that support. So I've got, in order to let it work and give the trade time to develop, I have to see signs right away that that support is holding. When I don't see that, I have no problem just bailing on the position immediately, which is what I did. You know, and this is one of the keys to not only live trading, but also getting a lot of funding and, you know, then getting payouts from your funding. You really don't want to be, you want to be as objective about your positions as possible. You don't want to be married to your outlook. You know, oh, I bought bonds here, so therefore, my God, you know, the weight of the world is on my shoulders that bonds have to go up right now. You know, that's not the case. So just try not to be too emotional about the positions you're in. Trading is a game of probabilities. You're going to take lots and lots and lots of losses, so get used to it and just be smart about them. That's it. And just make sure once you're in a winner, you just let your winner go to your target, or, you know, if you don't use targets, you know, and you start to see signs that, you know, if you're long, like if I was long here and my target for bonds is up in here, which is where it was, if we start to push higher and I start to see resistance, I'll just get out here. You know, it doesn't have to go to my target. It's the same way down here. If I'm long, which I was, and I don't like it, I just get out. So I think that's important. Just don't obsess over each individual trade. There's going to be thousands and thousands of trades over the course of your career. And if you want to be the best trader you can be, you better learn how to lose fast and learn how to lose, you know, in a good way without causing you to get angry or tilt or any of that other stuff. You know, it's really important. All right, so there's my diatribe for the day. Let's go back to ES. You can see ES, we're working on an 80,000 contract bar chart here, right? So each one of these bars is comprised of 80,000 contracts, which is why we got the counter down here for volume. So right now we're at 42,000 contracts. When this goes higher and higher, that means we're getting closer to 80,000 contracts, and then this will close. This is telling us the high-low close for the last 80,000 contracts on ES, because contracts traded, to me, the volume is much more important than, you know, a variable like time. I think that having, you know, I've tried to trade with time-based charts in the past, hourly charts, 4-hourly charts. It can be done, and it's valuable in the sense, you know, you're going to check every hour or every 4 hours, so you can have like a timetable around it. But in terms of accuracy, I mean, you get so much better entries and everything based on the volume-based charts. You really do. Yesterday at the open here, so you recall yesterday, I lost about $1,000 overnight because I longed ES here. And then I woke up and I was already down and I didn't like what I saw. So I cut that at $1,000 loss. But then at the open here, I could see support was holding on the volume-based chart. So I went long here, ES at the open. I actually took profit right up here and I made $1,000. So 1,000 I lost there. I got back here at the open. I wasn't revenge trading or anything. I just thought, okay, my first idea about support here was a little too early, but I can see signs that support is holding strong here. So I want to get long, give it a shot, and off she went. That was good. Then I had another little buy down here and tried to take profit up here, but it snaked back here and took me out at break even. But that's okay. It was, you can see it was choppy. I was kind of hoping it'd get a big push, kind of like this here when I was long. But, you know, guys, the market's going to do whatever it's going to do anytime it wants to do it. So that's really important. And it's something that I have to remind myself of every single day. It's just, like, the market doesn't give a shit about what I'm doing at all. It doesn't care about me. It doesn't care about my trades. It doesn't care about anything. You know, we shouldn't, what's the word? Anthropomorphize, I think. You know, it's like you shouldn't give human characteristics, human personality traits to the market, because it's just this amalgamation of all the different people all around the world trading, all the high frequency trading systems. Like, basically, the more simple you can just look at things and go, look, the market goes up, it goes down. At the end of the day, I got to try and find a decent spot to get long or short. You know, be selective, try to pick decent spots based on whatever methodology you're using. And then just try to manage the trade objectively. When you're in a good trade, try to let it go so you get some profit out of it. Don't get too excited and take it off early. If you're in a losing trade, don't start hoping that it's going to turn around. If you can see signs it's not a good trade, just get out of the trade. You can just do those few relatively straightforward things. They're not simple. I don't want to say it's not simple to do, but it is simple to understand. If you can do those things, you're going to have a lot better chance of succeeding over a longer period of time. So, all right, it's 9:15. We got 15 minutes until the market opens. And you can see that durable goods orders coming in hotter than expected. It is weighing on the market. Go back and rewind the video. You'll see that I was debating shorting this because this looked like an exhaust right into resistance for reversal back down. I was debating shorting it. I elected not to short it because NQ had broken above all this resistance and looked pretty bullish. So sneaky NQ was the reason I did not short the ES. But that's fine because I like to take the trades when they're both kind of confirming each other because you just get better odds. You get more of an edge. So sometimes, you know, the reason I didn't take this trade is because I liked what I saw for a reversal on ES to go short, but NQ wasn't really confirming it for me. So I just thought, Anyways, if you get stuck in woulda, coulda, shoulda land, you're going to be in a painful place. So don't get stopped. Don't get stuck there. Woulda, coulda, shoulda is dangerous thinking. So anyway, so that's what happened. So I didn't short here where I kind of wanted to, and now that would be a nice winner, right? And instead, I elected to buy bonds here that I cut pretty quick with a 2-tick loss on 3 contracts, which is why I'm down 187 on this U-Profit account, and I'm down 187 on this one Top Step account, right? Because I decided on bonds. And, you know, in a previous lifetime, before I started to really kind of hone in on my craft, that would piss me off. I would get really upset that, oh, why didn't I short ES like I wanted, and why did I go long bonds? Yeah, but that's a really stupid way to think, and believe me, I thought that way before as well, but I don't think that way anymore. It's because how in the hell do I know what the market's going to do? I don't know. I just got to pick one and go with it. That's what you got to do. If you're beating yourself up for, you know, like picking wrong, I mean, welcome to the party. You know, trading is about picking wrong all the time. It's how you handle losing that's going to determine, I think, how successful you are. Which is why Tom Hugard wrote Best Loser Wins. Because it's so important. It's apropos trading. All right. So we got about 14 minutes here. Let's just cycle through. Let's look at crude. Very tight range here on crude. Crude overall quite bullish, but right now you got resistance up in here at 1840. You got support down in here at 8170. I did want to buy this support earlier, but I didn't catch it because it was during London and I wasn't paying attention. I was off eating breakfast or something. But basically, I'm waiting for crude to try. You know, sometimes crude will, you know, it'll go like this and just give you this out of nowhere flush. That's what I'm waiting to buy. If I get a flush like that, then I would buy for the potential rebound back to the upside. That's what I want for crude. Kind of like here, you can see. Kind of like that. See how crude just flushes, picks up support, bounces. That's kind of what I'm waiting for on crude today. I don't think that's a bad game plan for crude. So we'll wait for that to develop. If we look at silver, like I said, I'm not really feeling silver today. I don't know what it wants to do. Gold is kind of the same. I don't really know what gold wants to do today. Bonds, I came into the day with a bullish bias. I really did, but we're just going to have to wait and see how the day develops after that hot durable goods order. But if bonds can show us maybe that it wants to try and stabilize in here, I might be willing to, you know, rebuy for a push back up here. But I'd have to see what the dollar's doing. I mean, right now the euro is extending its gains against the dollar. So that's, you know, gold and silver are kind of holding strong. Right, we're going to have to really see what stocks do at the open, how they're reacting to that durable goods order, and then that will determine if we want to get long the bonds. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's go ahead now and look back here at the Dow. I mean, I think the Dow is pretty weak. If you look here, let's go to the Dow. I mean, the weekly looks like it wants to maybe push back down, and the daily looks pretty weak here on the Dow. I mean, that was a pretty weak 2-day stretch right there. We haven't seen something like that kind of in a while. We closed down near the lows 2 days in a row, and the weekly here, I don't know. I think we could see a little bit of a sell-off in the Dow today. We'll see. But I'm kind of waiting. We need some more information before we get all nutty about our biases. I think it's going to be a choppy day. And a lot's going to depend on what the dollar is doing, what crude is doing, and what the bonds and the rates are doing. That'll determine what stocks ultimately do. But I am counting on a choppy day for the indices. And if bonds start to break lower and rates push higher and the dollar starts to claw some back against the euro, then I think we really will see the rallies capped on ES and NQ. So we will look to play the short side. Because there could be a lot of people, you know, offsides buying that false breakout earlier. And remember the options levels. There's a lot of options right now for SPY up here at 53. The next major strike level is right down around 5,200. So you've got quite, you know, quite a lot of room to the downside. If 5,300 continues to hold, we could see 100 handles down. Not today, but, you know, over the next couple of days. So, hey, if the party can get started to the downside, those are my favorite days, because markets drop harder and faster than they go up. And, you know, when they really start to drop. And I love shorting. So, I mean, longing is fine too. But if we can have a good short day, that'd be sweet. But, you know, looking at the daily chart over here for ES, there was the Dow. We already said, I think the Dow is going to be weak. But yeah, this is interesting, you guys, because this is what I was wondering, right? Yesterday, I came in with a bullish bias with support here, and you know, I ended up doing okay on the day overall. I made like 1850, but I lost 1,000 overnight on ES on a long, and then I made it back at the open longing. So I broke even on ES for the day, but it just was a lot weaker than I was expecting. So then I came in today thinking, okay, I want to see how it reacts to this overall resistance level right up into this pocket here at 5,300. And right now, yeah, we're getting shut down. So is this going to be one of these situations where we just end up opening and, you know, dumping like this? It could be. And especially if bonds continue to head lower. Right now, bonds are relatively stable. The 10 years about break even. Everything's about break even in the treasury bond space. So, but let's see. I want to see. It's kind of like this. If I blow up this daily chart here for you, let's go back a few days. This is the daily. So it's kind of, if you look at this pattern here, right? Big move up after FOMC, you know, topped out, rolling over, and now we're here where we pop up and get punched down, right? So if we look for a similar situation, kind of like this. This is pretty accurate, you see? Right here. You see how this day and this day, you get that really big push up, and then it fails, rolls over, and then you just kind of keep leaking lower. I think this is what we're seeing right now. So look at this here, and now compare that to this right where we are right now. Right there. See? 2-bar push. There you top out, and now you roll over and rallies are being sold into. So I think that's what we're looking for today. So I think I'm going to probably look to short the open. I think it's going to be one of these days where a lot of people are getting really excited about longing, and I want to short. So ES, I could be willing to take a short up into like 52.95 here at the open. I don't think that would be bad. NQ, I think, you know, 18.6 could potentially be a good short. ES looks weaker though. I might try and short ES into 52.95, you guys. Let's bring up my ES account. All right, I'm going to bring up my UProfit ES account, which is that one. I've got my DOM on my other screen here, so we're going to be trading that UProfit account potentially on. See what we've got. 80 and 40, that's not bad. Just setting my stops and stuff, you guys. Because the rhythmic DOM is just a little bit more of a pain in the ass. Okay. So we'll see what happens, but I think I want to get short ES. I mean, I think it might not be a bad idea to get short up here. Like if we can get short, you know, 52.96 or so, 52.96.7, and a stop at like 53.03, something like that. Kind of what I'm interested in. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of interested in. Shorting ES potentially at the open up into here somewhere, because we still got quite a few shares left. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try and get short you guys ES at the open, I think, and maybe on that other account too. Top step. Yeah, I think I could try and get short this one at the open. Potentially. That'd be 3 contracts. How many points do we want? I think 10 points for 20 maybe, so we do 40 for 80. Stop loss. 40. Big profit. 80. Here we got 40, 80. Correct. $40.80. Now that's 10 points, right? Yeah, I think pretty good. I think so. I might do that, you guys. We'll see here at the open. I might set an order to short ES at about 52.95 or 6 up in here. I think I'm going to, you guys. Just do 52.95. All right, we're looking to get short there. Gonna get short there. Stop is 05. 75, yeah. Yeah, cool. All right. So we're going to try and get short potentially into 95. Let's see what happens, you guys. Got our trade planned out for the open. I like this trade if it gets filled. I like this trade even better if it wins. So I'm looking to get short, guys. 52.95 on ES, right up in here. I've got an order on Top Step here on my funded account. I've also got an order to short 3 on my UProfit account, which you'll see down here. You'll see the P&L, but I've got the depth of market for that UProfit account on another screen. So market's going to open here in 50 seconds. We're either going to be right or we're going to be wrong. And truthfully, it doesn't matter because all you can do is pick your spots and hope for the best. Obviously, I want to win, but if we lose, we lose. I just think there's a lot of resistance up here. And I think it's worth a shot to get short. So let's just take a shot and short 6 contracts of ES at 52.95 if it gets filled. So we're going to have to see if we get filled. Going to find out in a moment. We've got 25 seconds left until the festivities begin. And you can rewind the video to see why I said I kind of like the idea of shorting here. Again, I don't know if I'm going to be right or wrong, but at least I like my idea. So here's the open, 4 seconds. And we're open. Again, it's going to have to punch up there and fill me. I'm not going to chase it down here. If I miss it, I miss it. I just know for the stop to work, I need to get short up there at 52.95. So sometimes it just goes without you, but Not a whole lot you can do. So let's see what happens, you guys. Our orders to get short are a little higher. Keep an eye on the scoreboard as well over here. We're looking at what the other indices are doing. We're looking at what bonds are doing. Keep an eye on the dollar. But I do like this short, so let's see if we can get filled. These are funded accounts. Everything's live. We're doing it. This is just 2 of the funded accounts. One 200K U profit, one 150K top step for now. We lost $187 on 2 accounts earlier on bonds, but that was basically a break even. Let's see. I'd like it to pop and fill us so we can get short. Anybody else think we should short right here? Let me know what you think, because I'm feeling good about trying to short. If we can get filled, just don't know. It's looking pretty heavy, but you know, sometimes I just got to leave my order because you never know. Sometimes it'll just race up there and fill you, and sometimes it just goes without you. Trading is just, every day is different, you guys. I think that's why it's so hard for so many people. You got to really have a flexible mindset. You got to come into the day totally open for anything to happen every day. And you got to be willing to get punched in the face a lot. Important. All right. So we're waiting to get short up there at 95. See what the NASDAQ is doing. NASDAQ's trying to push. I mean, guys, we could be totally off on this, but we're going to have to... I don't like this close up here, though. I don't mind it. Let's try and get short. There's a lot of resistance at 5,300. If we get short at 52.95, I think we're going to try it. We're getting a close here in a moment. 2,000 contracts. That could be pretty bullish right there. I'm going to remove the order. Okay, the order is removed. I think there's going to still be resistance here. I think it's going to be one of these that just kind of like this. Sucks up and then punches over. Let's just see. I want to see what the NASDAQ. Yeah, there's the NASDAQ. Yeah, I think we can try and get short ES at 95 still. It's not like... I'm looking at it. I'm kind of like, is it one that I love? Not really. I would have liked it if we would have punched up, filled us, and then dropped. But that didn't really happen. I still think we can roll over here, but I pulled the orders because I'm just not, you know, the trade I was looking for didn't happen. There wasn't a lot of volatility there at the open. But let's look at NQ. So NQ, I would be open to, let's see, look at the daily NQ here. Yeah, a little tricky. We may want to push up here on NQ and then get rejected. I'm not really sure. I mean, it's tough pattern to read on NQ right there. Let's see, what are bonds telling us? Bonds are just not I think bonds are confused right now because you had a strong durable goods order. The bonds aren't doing a whole lot. The dollar is trying to get some back against the euro. Crude's dropping a little bit. So here you can see the NASDAQ. ES is pushing higher, but again, do I want to short that 52.95 level? I mean, parts of me do, but I gotta wait. So the big question on the NASDAQ is, if we jump up here into resistance, is that going to be a good short, you know, to roll over? It could be. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's Bitcoin doing today. Down a little bit. All right, here's ES. Yeah, I think you got some resistance there. I mean, certainly if ES started to really roll over and NASDAQ bumped up there, we could go short potentially. I mean, we could always just go short on one of our top step accounts, that's for sure. On the NASDAQ, I think we'd want about, gosh, least even 25. Let's bring up the NASDAQ here. Here's the NASDAQ. Oh no, it's, oh, this is, okay guys, see, this is what Quant Tower does this a lot, NQM4. And then you have to close down the whole thing and reopen it. Yeah, Quant Tower is kind of unfortunate sometimes, you guys. So we'll close down Quant Tower. Quant Tower does this a lot. Okay, let's reopen Quant Tower. Because I'd like to maybe short the NASDAQ up here. But it just depends if Quant Tower is going to open in time. Wow, guys, Quant Tower is incredibly... And then it has to go fetch the data. It just kind of takes its sweet time. Here I'm on out here. All right, guys, I just had to check and make sure I was on the right account. But you can see, guys, you see how it just takes forever. Do 25-point stop. So I might go short on this, but we'd have to push a little higher. Might go short on this top step account, but I really would want it to kind of push up in here. What's ES doing? Yeah. I really want the NASDAQ to push. Quite a lot of resistance at 18.6. I don't know. It's not a trade I'm super nuts about, especially if we close here in the middle. Definitely not going to touch that. Yeah, that's closing in the middle. We don't want that. I mean, I think it's going to drop, but I don't like to guess, so don't need to do anything on the NASDAQ. Let's look at ES. I think ES is going to be a drop, kind of like this pattern here where we roll over. But let's wait and see. The Dow, I'm open to trading the Dow, but I'd like to see a little bit of a pop back up here to resistance to maybe short the Dow. We got some time to think about that until this volume-based chart close. Checking on bonds. Yes, we made a good call, guys, earlier today after the durable goods orders came out. Buying bonds here initially because we like the short. We like the support, so we want to go long. And just realizing that it was not behaving correctly and just closing it for a small loss. So you can see bonds are pushing lower. So that was a good call for now. And not be hopeful about that and hang on to it. Instead, just cut it, as we could objectively see that the support we were betting on was not being respected. And what does this mean? Bonds are going down, rates are going up. That's why I think you're going to see pressure on the stock market. The dollar is clawing a little bit back here against the euro. So if the dollar can get stronger, bonds drop, rates rise, you know, we could have a little bit of a short fest for the indices, which would be great. If anything, we'd have a choppy day on the indices, you know. Maybe we wouldn't see like a full-on breakdown, but anytime it tries to get out of whack to the upside or the downside, and you probably have a good day trading the range. So that's what I'm going to look for in the indices. Bonds do look like we're going to get a close here soon on this bar, 20,000 contracts. I don't want to do anything with that, but it looks pretty bearish, so keep an eye on that. Let's look at gold. See if gold continues to roll over on the back of that strong durable goods. Silver certainly is, so bonds should as well. Crude, I'm looking for a flush down here to maybe get long later, so we'll keep an eye on that. Let's go back to the indices since right now it's the opening 15 minutes. This is where the action's at. So here's ES. Remember, I had an order at the open to short 52.95. I didn't get filled. So I have a decision, you know, do I want to chase it down here? No, I'm not a chaser. I like to wait. All right, but I do think stocks are under pressure here. So if you're long, you should probably be careful, I think. But who knows? I might be wrong. You might be long and I might be wrong. You never know. So NASDAQ, I mean, what I'd really love on the NASDAQ is, you know, sort of an opportunity to squeeze higher and get short up in here. I never like to take trades in the middle of the range, guys. I think that's a really good rule of thumb. You see the NASDAQ here? Remember, these are 40,000 contract volume-based bar charts, right? So you see resistance is up here, basically, right, for this section of time. You got some support here, right? And you got some more support down here, right? I always do support in blue, resistance in red, right? So look, right here, you see how you're right in the middle of this current range? Resistance is here, support is here, and we closed right in the middle. I don't want to take a trade there because whether I go long or short, I got to put my stop, you know, somewhere where it makes sense. And that's just difficult to do. You know, the noise in the NASDAQ, the harmonic number is like something like 18 or 19 points, right? So you got to respect that and have your stop outside the noise. That's very, very important. So let's see. I'm open at this point. If ES tried to bounce up into 52.95, you know, I could give it a shot. I definitely could. Certainly if NASDAQ tried to squeeze up here, I would try and short maybe later. The Dow we're waiting on. Ultra bonds we're keeping an eye on. There's a bit of a flush on gold. I wouldn't buy that though. Silver looking very weak. Crude maybe starting to flush. We're looking for a long down there later. Cycle back to ES. I think ES is the one now that I would be again willing to short if we got a 2.5. All right. So ES is kind of, let's go back over here to tops. Sorry, this is going to. I think we're on the right account here. Go ahead and just double check we're on the right account. We should be. Yes, we are indeed on the right account. Sorry, I gotta like stop my screen share, guys, every time I adjust my Top Step account, because it's probably not that dangerous if you guys see my account numbers, but I don't know, like probably better just to keep them hidden. So I'm still interested in 95 up here getting short. That's what we're going to keep an eye on for now. Go ahead and change our settings here. So for ES, it endpoints, 20 points. That. Choppy market, you guys. Kind of lame and directionless so far. We'll see. I'm interested in the 95 level. Might have to dial this down here. Let's just check. I might have to dial this down just on this one. Dial this down to 16,000. This will be an entry time frame. They're pretty dangerous when you use a lower time frame, but sometimes we have to. You can see just a chop fest here. A choppy doppy fest. All that volume being put in right here. So basically, I'm interested in the 95 level up here on the higher time period getting short, potentially. But I would need to see the lower time period kind of pop up there and then see what kind of pattern I have to maybe get short. What we're looking at. So keep an eye on this together. We got NQ is still below 18.6, kind of the key level. The bonds are still at, they're still weak, so that should weigh on the stock market with higher rates off the back of that durable goods news announcement that came out hotter than expected at 8:30. Silver starting to feel the pain there, down 0.6%. Crude's dropping a little bit. The dollar's staging a little bit of a comeback against the euro. So this is kind of the environment where we wouldn't be too silly to look for a short. So that's why I'm looking for a short. But again, it's going to have to happen sort of up into my higher time period resistance zone. That's why I brought out the lower time period chart here. Sometimes I'll use it, but generally speaking, it's better to focus on the higher time period chart so you don't kind of get sucked in and start over trading and things. Wow, what a slow day, huh? Be right back, you guys. All right, guys, I'm back. I just had to grab something. So just waiting for a pop up to 52.95. A little bit of dyslexia there. 52.95. Looking for a short up in here somewhere on ES potentially. So far, the market's not giving us a whole lot today. You can see since the open, ES has just been doing absolutely nothing. NASDAQ is similar. Bonds are chopping around. Gold, silver, crude falling under a little bit of pressure. Dollar getting a little stronger against the euro. Bitcoin's kind of flat. So I think we're going to see a chop fest, but that's not all that bad. If you can kind of forecast why you think you're going to see a chop fest, then you just got to bring out your range trading playbook and look to trade that playbook, right? Because if you expect a range and it turns out to be a range day and you've got a range trading playbook, then you should do all right. Now, if you're expecting a range day and it ends up being a super trend day, that can be a problem, but hopefully you're able to recognize the signs of that while it's unfolding. I don't do it every time, obviously, but you can get a pretty good sense of what's going on by keeping an eye on the different asset classes here and then using the OMA and the right type of playbook for the day that you're expecting. So I don't think we're going to see a runaway market to the upside. So I think ES has got a lot of resistance up here at 5,300. That's why I'm potentially interested in shorting up into 52.95, kind of somewhere in that area. But the lower time period here would have to give me a little bit of an exhaust up, suck in some longs. That's where I'd go short, and then hopefully it would reverse. And I'd probably take that trade on my one of my top step funded accounts here, and my UProfit funded account, one of those on my other screen. So really, you know, I'm being selective. I want to try and, you know, take decent trades, obviously, but at the same time, the only way you get the big payouts on these accounts is by just taking your shots and living with the outcome and being willing to blow them. So far, I haven't blown a single account, but that's because I haven't really been super aggressive yet. Because the last month or so since I've been building these funded accounts, the markets have just been kind of, I don't know, directionless. Even though we're making record highs, but everything's been kind of choppy because I trade all the markets, right? So even though crude's been pushing higher and a really choppy climb, gold, silver have been choppy ever since they had like a 2-day blast, and they chopped around for like 60 days, had a two-day burst, and then chopped around for another 30 days. So it's been challenging trading. All right, let's make sure we're not missing any higher time periods here. Here's the NASDAQ. I mean, look at this, guys. What a quiet open. My God. The Dow, just nothing. Ultra bonds, you know, stabilizing here. Do I want to buy that? No. Gold's trying to stabilize. Silver. Crude, I'm still looking for a flush down here. So quiet day, guys. Turn our attention back to ES now that we just did the check of the major markets. I'm looking for, I don't know. I mean, look at this, guys. This is incredible. It's just so quiet. So we're just waiting, guys. Just what a quiet day. We have a piece of chocolate while we wait. I think we should. I got a little headache because I had too much chocolate yesterday. I'm having my chocolate, guys. I'm going to read the news here while we're waiting for anything to happen. We do have, right, we've got the consumer confidence coming out at 10. So do we want to trade that? Yeah. I'd like to get short ES on that number, I think. So consumer board, consumer confidence number out in 5 minutes. Probably things move fast, so we'll probably just keep an eye on the ES for that one. And I like the idea potentially of shorting up in here. Let's see where we close. Apple is falling on Chinese report that iPhone shipments plunged 33%. 33%. So that could weigh on the market today if Apple's falling. Yeah, and here's a really good article by the Market Ear, Zero Hedge Premium. The reasons for the low volatility. Yeah, it's just been such low volatility, you guys. It's crazy. All right, so we got consumer confidence coming out here in 4 minutes. I think I like the idea of probably shorting ES. I mean, unless we can see if there's anything else that looks good. Here's the NASDAQ. Dow. Bonds look weak. Gold and silver look pretty weak, but I don't really have a good read on their daily charts right now. Crude still waiting for a flush. So I guess, you know, we'd be looking to short. I guess I'm just looking to short maybe up into 95 here on the ES, depending on what this bar looks like heading into the news in 3 minutes. Hopefully it'll just, even if we don't get a trade on at the news, hopefully it'll just knock this market out of its little slumber. We can have a little fun. Very, very gray clouds and very rainy here in the States. Sorry, in Sweden for now. Very, very rainy. All right, guys, we got a little less than 2 minutes here for the open. Sorry, not the open. Where is my brain today? For the consumer confidence number coming out. The 2 minutes consumer confidence number. Still interested in shorting ES potentially up into 95. So we got Top Step ready to potentially short. We've got U-Profit ready to potentially short. So we'll see. Right now, nothing is happening. So we just have to hopefully have a strange consumer confidence number come out and rock this market into a little bit of volatility. Bonds are doing nothing. Dollars kind of doing nothing. Everything's doing nothing right now. But that's good. That's why you just wait and you don't overtrade. And guys, if you're going to lose money trading, like, you might as well lose it on good trades, right? That's kind of how I feel about it. Anyways, we'll see. It's getting a little bit of a push, which is kind of what we want to see, because this is the area I'm looking to maybe short. Although I don't think this consumer number is going to come out hot. I think the consumer is not happy at the moment, so this number could boost the market. Who knows? All right, we got 25 seconds. No orders in, but interested maybe in that 52.95 level potentially. But again, we're going to get a close here in about 4,000 contracts. Let's see if we get a pop. I'd be looking for a pop that I maybe would short for a drop, but let's see. There's the number. Keeping an eye on the bond market, the dollar. Bonds haven't really reacted yet. Dollar's not reacting. I'm keeping an eye on all this over here, guys, as I wait to see if ES pops. Because what I want to see is a pop on ES. Maybe I'd short up there, but I want to see some confirmation over here. Yeah, bonds are dropping now. That's good. Okay. We're going to have to go a little higher than this. Bonds are back. The Ultra bond was just at 2. Now it's at 6. So I want to see it try and crack through 127 would have been nice. So now bonds are flat. Silver's flat. The dollar's flat since the announcement. You can see here, guys, the dollar against the euro is at 0.16, meaning the euro is slightly up on the day against the dollar. That hasn't changed really since this consumer number came out. Bonds here hovering around 127.5, 127.6. That hasn't changed. But right now, we're not seeing any big reaction here to this consumer number. So there we had a higher time period close right here. You can see just a we're in the middle of the range here, guys. So I don't really take trades in the middle of the range. It's just a principle. I'm still interested in maybe shorting up here somewhere as if we got close to 5,300 on the ES. That would kind of be the area of interest. Because also on the daily chart here, guys, especially when we look at ES, here's the ES daily. You've got that extension right there, that pink dot. That's a key level. Coming across at 5,300, you got a lot of options expirations up there, so it's a kind of a wall for now, resistance wall. So here's the Nasdaq. We're getting a little bit of a pump. I don't have as good of a read on the daily chart for the Nasdaq here. If I bring up the daily, you'll see what I mean. The Nasdaq could push higher up here to these highs and the extension. I'm really just not sure about the Nasdaq. ES is a little bit more clear. Let's look at the Dow. Okay, Dow's breaking. That's a good sign. Bonds are still steady, though. Dollar's still steady. Gold putting on a little bit of a rally. So here's bonds. You can see are kind of pushing. But choppy, guys. Look, ever since 8 a.m., I mean, stuff hasn't really moved much. Maybe since 8:30. Since after the durable goods order. Here's silver. Not much. Here's crude. The question for now, I'm still waiting for a flush on crude, even though there's a lot of support here. Man, what an uneventful day. Uneventful day. So is this going to set up a short here on the Nasdaq? Could. I don't know. I'm not nuts about it. I don't really know what the daily's doing right now. Wouldn't be a bad short at this resistance level, but can't really. Bonds aren't really doing much. Dollar's not doing anything. I mean, everything's choppy right now. Back to ES here, so I can remove that lower time period. We'll focus on our higher time period for now. Here is ES. All right, so the Nasdaq is the one that's going to get a close here. Question is, are we seeing something like this? You see here, we kind of topped out yesterday, and then when we punched up, we rolled over. Is that what we're seeing now? Is this punching up to roll over? I mean, possible, but again, bonds aren't. I mean, bonds are rallying now, so that's interesting. I'm just gonna have to wait. There's just maybe this is just gonna be a shitty week, you guys. It's Easter. Nothing's fucking moving. Be the case. We'll see. This is could be an area of resistance here on the Nasdaq. I'm just not sure. I don't know. To be honest, that could go up or down. I don't know. I'll wait for a little more confirmation. Could see a little bit of a flush. All right. Let's see here. So, yeah, ES, I don't know what this is doing. Look at this range, guys. I mean, this is just horrendous. NASDAQ, I mean, that could be a resistance for a flush. I mean, it could be, but the reason I'm not taking it right now is because this looks more bullish to me than anything. It looks like this wants to squeeze higher. So I'm kind of more interested in the long side for the NASDAQ today. Especially now that we see after the durable goods order, market's not dropping, bonds aren't really following through, the dollar's kind of stable. So I think the NASDAQ could squeeze up here today. Just based on seeing all these reactions. So ES will wait. NASDAQ would be more, if we get a flush down here, I maybe would buy it for reversal back up. I think the pressure is going to be up, but let's just wait and see. That's why I'm not shorting right here. Don't know what's going to happen, but here's the Dow, just choppy, not giving us a whole lot to work with. Ultra bonds, super choppy. There's a lot of support here on the ultra bonds, so if we stabilize here, it might be a situation where I'd get long again. Because here you can see on the daily chart, I mean, you got a lot of support here. It's holding so far. Kind of tough to read. But NASDAQ looks bullish for now. I think that's, the bonds are maybe bullish. We'll have to wait and see. I think ES and NQ want to push higher, so wait for that. Dow, I'm not really sure. Gold, silver, not really sure, but if bonds stabilize, gold and silver could stabilize as well. Crude, I'm waiting for a flush to maybe get long. So we just have to see about that. So crude, we've got about 6,000 contracts left here till that closes. So plenty of time there. NQ, we got some time. ES, we got some time. All right, we'll just take a little bit of a break, you guys. All right, guys, we're just watching and waiting. I mean, this is an incredibly uneventful market. All I can say is I'm happy to be patient and waiting for good setups. And you can just be thankful on days like this when you've got a good set of analysis tools, when you're not, you know, just getting chopped up in this and losing a bunch of money. Because I would imagine that's probably the norm on a day like today. I mean, look at, we opened right around here. I mean, this is just not doing a whole lot. I guess it is if you get down to a 1 minute chart, right? Here is ES. I mean, look at this. This is just incredible. So I do think NASDAQ is going to be pretty well supported. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us just stay range bound up here the rest of the day. So I do think the path of least resistance for now is probably going to continue to be like this. I'm just being a little bit more careful on the short side, more willing to buy, you know, dips down in here, especially if bonds stay where they're at now, which is pretty stable, which means rates are stable. The dollar here pretty much doing nothing. Crude's at break even. So remember, guys, all these markets here are interconnected and they really influence each other. So, all right, so now the NASDAQ is coming to life. Something's going on. Good. Let's see what's going on. I mean, we had the CB consumer confidence at 10. That didn't move the market at all. But apparently there's some liquidity coming in now for some strange reason. I don't think there's a Fed speaker or anything. Check news feed here. I mean, it's only a 20-point move, but so yeah. So I was thinking about shorting up here because there's some resistance, and okay, I guess I could have, but when I have my reasons. When I look at the daily chart here for the NASDAQ, it just looks like there's, I mean, it could end up being totally wrong, but it looks like there's more support here than anything. So let's just see. Kind of hard to read at the moment. Anyways, we got a ways to go until this bar closes. I'll make a decision then. So for ES, look, just as ES since the open, we've literally been in an 86, 87 to 90. We've been in like a 5-point range here since the open. That's pretty nuts. Even for ES, that's fucking nuts. All right, let's look at the Dow here. The Dow, I'd be willing to short maybe up through the highs up in here, because on the daily here for the Dow, you're weaker. You see, you're weaker on the Dow here. And I think you got a lot of resistance up in here. I could be willing to short the Dow on a pop. Ultra bonds, like I said, there's a lot of support here. That's why I bought them earlier, but basically jumped out at break even because I didn't like, but now it's stabilizing. So I don't know. Let's see what ultra bonds do. I think maybe gold and silver are choppy right now. I mean, silver is certainly responding to that higher durable goods order number coming out. Crude not really doing a whole lot. I mean, waiting for a flush down here. So this is just an incredibly uneventful day so far. That's the way trading goes sometimes, you guys. All right. So, well, bonds are trying to drop now again. I mean, we're at 127.3, so maybe now we'll get some answers. But every time it comes down here, it gets picked back up. The dollar's not doing a whole lot. Silver's starting to respond negatively. If gold can follow silver to the downside, and if bonds can keep pushing to the downside, that would give me more confidence in shorting ES up here. Or NASDAQ. But, see. Just waiting for these volume-based bars to close. The Dow will be the next one. Dow's kind of a mess. Check in on our friend Tommy Hugard. See how Tom is doing. Wonderful guy, great trader. Heart in the right place. I love Tom. Tom, you the man. He's going through a bit of a rough patch, but everybody does with trading. So let's see how Tom is doing today. All right, apparently Tom lost connectivity. Hope he's having a good day. All right, guys. Well, let's see if we're going to be rewarded for our patience today. You never know. Checking in on ES. Still stuck in a 5-point range since the open. Not much we can do there. Still waiting for the close there. NQ. Doing nothing. The Dow is going to close here next. Once we get to 8,000 contracts, which is 1,700 contracts away. So I think if the Dow gave us an opportunity to short up here, I might do that. But it'd have to really push higher. Bonds continue to sit here, but we made the right call by closing our bonds position at least. I'm happy about that. Gold is doing nothing. Silver certainly trying to move to the downside. Oh, crude. Crude, I'd be looking for a flush to long down here. Potentially. Keep an eye on crude for right now, because you never know. Sometimes crude will just, all of a sudden, it'll just be here, and then it'll just rip down. But I do like this setup, I have to say. Finally, I think I have a setup I'm happy with the DOMs and the charts and showing the P&L and all that kind of stuff. So. Well, there's a little bit of movement here. Something's going on. 10:19 a.m. Do we have anything at 10:30? We got the Dallas Fed Services Index. Not sure how important that is. Well, we'll just wait for our setups here, guys. So we've still got some time for ES to close here. We're still stuck in about a 5-point range. NQ, sort of the same thing. The Dow is about to close here, so you can see we got 7,000 contracts traded, and on the Dow we use an 8,000 contract volume-based chart. If you look carefully, you guys, you can see here. You see on the background of the chart, you can see 8,000 vol. Then you can always see the number of contracts, or you can see it up here, YM 8,000 share. You know how many contracts I'm charting with each, because they're different. You know, NASDAQ here is 40,000. It's just because the NASDAQ has more daily volume than the Dow. The ES has more daily volume than both. So that's why they all have different volume-based bar chart numbers. All right, so the Dow is going to close here in about 800 contracts in the middle of the range here. I mean, I'm not really seeing anything there. Let's see, bonds just stuck at this 127. Gold, nothing. Silver is leaking lower. crude, look at this, guys. Crude, I mean, it's just been stuck at 82 for the last 24 hours. Look at that. That was yesterday at 10:30 right here. Today we're at 10:30 right here. Look at the price yesterday at 10:30. Look at the price today. I mean, we're stuck at 82 on crude. So no wonder there's not a lot of trading opportunity right now, but that's good. I mean, it's not good. It's more fun when there's trading opportunity, but it's good that we're not getting our asses handed to us. We got to love that. I guess if we go down to the 1 minute chart, there'll be millions of opportunities, right? Just kidding, guys. Stay away from the 1 minute chart. Unless you want to have a short trading career, then spend a lot of time down there. You got to be a really good trader. Like, you see one guy making money on the 1 minute chart, that's great. But that's going to be like one out of, I don't know. It's not easy to replicate. Just better to use higher time, especially day trading is hard enough as it is. So it's better to just use, in my opinion, higher time period charts, especially volume-based charts or Renko charts, something that kind of just, you know, slows it down, gives you a chance to think about your setups. You know, you'll be less likely to, you know, make mistakes and tilt and compound your mistakes. I think that's important. And by the way, my gym was cleaning their spa area today. No sauna, no ice bath. They're doing their yearly cleaning, which can't wait till that's done. All right, NASDAQ here. Dow. Yeah, we're going to need to close on the Dow here soon, but still nothing. What's about ultra bonds? Okay, bonds are finally starting to hit the deck here. So question is, are we going to see support down at this bottom here for bonds? Let's look. Yeah, I don't know. There's something I don't like about the weekly right now. The daily has some support, but the weekly is just looking a little funky. So ES, we got some time here to think about it. NQ, got some time. All right, Dow, the good old Dow. I mean, the Dow, I'm really more interested in shorting up in here. I'm not really interested in the middle of this range. Bonds, you know, would I buy this double bottom down here? Not really. I feel like if this market was strong, the original support level that I identified here, where I tried to go long, I think that should have held, and it didn't. So yeah, technically we could pick up support and do this, but I just don't think it's wise. I think bonds are looking weak. Rates are going up. Okay, the dollar's getting a little stronger now. You can see that's good. So if bonds can keep heading lower, rates go up, dollar is getting stronger now against the euro, then we could see some good opportunities to short maybe on the indices, especially the S&P up here to 3, anywhere up into this 52.95 level. So we'll keep an eye on the ES. If we got a punch up here like that, I think that could be a good opportunity to short ES for a move maybe like that. Something like this. You see how yesterday you were going up and then around noon you had that reversal and then you just got kind of stuck. I'd be looking for this maybe to potentially roll over. Like so. Dependiente de los bolsas. That's my attempt at Spanish. I will not be doing Spanish broadcasting. Sorry, Ez. Mi amigo y Argentina. Let's see. The Dow. Sorry, this is the NASDAQ. Look, it could be setting up a buy. But I don't think I'd want to buy with what I'm seeing on the scoreboard right now. I think I would be more in the mood to sell the ES. Check. Let's check the news. Oh, here we go. We've got the So we had U.S. home prices rose. Consumer board, consumer confidence revised down. So that could buoy the stock market. Yeah, really hard to say what's going on with all this news. Anyways, here's NQ. Would I want to buy this for a push up here? I don't think with what I'm seeing in the bond market I want to. I mean, the ultra bond is finally cracking through. So we made a really good, we managed our risk really well here, guys. Proud of that. Only lost 187 earlier when we bought the bonds. So that was a great. And now ES, I do think I'm going to be looking for a short up in here. NQ is kind of hard to say. All right, the Dow did close. You got a short pattern here potentially in the Dow for sure. I'm not going to take it because you're in the middle of the zone. I don't like to be in the middle of the zone. But we'll see what happens with the Dow. Bonds are heading down. Gold, silver, crude, we're still waiting. You got some support here in crude. See what happens with that. I'm still waiting for a flush. Crude's one of those markets I don't like to buy support. I like to wait for it to flush. Yeah, the dollar's really making a comeback now. So I'd like to see ES try to close up here. Oh, the sun is coming out for the first time in 6 months here in Sweden. All right, so we've got the NASDAQ. Okay, the NASDAQ is dropping. That's nice. Question is it a buy down here? I don't know. I think with what we're seeing on bonds and the dollar, you know, you just never know. This thing could just chop around the rest of the day. I think it's going to be a choppy day. I think I got to play the range. Yeah, the dollar's making a bit of a comeback here. So ES, I'm just looking for a pop up here, but you can see they got an outside bar. It's just not. I'd like to get a opportunity to short up in here. At least we're moving a little bit, or trying to. Let's see. Not really doing much. We're still glued to this 52.90 level. Still got about 10,000 contracts left till this ES closes. This has been one of the most uneventful New York sessions I've seen in a long time. That's exciting. But we'll see if we can get something out of it. Let's look at NQ is trying to drop a little. I mean, there's a lot of support down here. Do I want to buy NQ down here? Where the hell did that go? That was weird. There we go. I don't think I want to buy today. I really, not with bonds breaking, the dollar's getting stronger against the euro. I think the easier money I think is on the short side for right now. That doesn't mean that these won't bounce. They could, but oh, that's a lot of support right there. Gosh, tough to do I want to buy that or not. getting a great read right now, so just gonna have to wait and see. We've got just a total mixed bag of garbage here. I mean, bonds are pushing lower. How much is that gonna affect stock market? There's crude. Still, the flush down here for crude will be nice. Yes, yeah, I think the short side now, depending. There's 1030, some liquidity coming in. So this is how I like to read it. Even though you've got like some support down here on the NASDAQ and you might bounce, I'm going to pass on that buy just because of what I'm seeing over here on the scoreboard right now. And I think the short side is the better side. But I didn't have that information here. I mean, that was obviously a good spot to short in hindsight, but scoreboard wasn't really telling us much. Sometimes you don't need the scoreboard. You can just go off what the daily and the weekly are telling you. But this is just, the market is really, really just not giving a lot of clues right now on direction. It's really messy. And since I can see that, this is why I'm just, you know, patiently waiting and not taking a lot of trades. Believe me, it can be annoying. I want to take trades, but at the same time, just I'm not going to sit here and take trades if I don't have conviction in them, right? So you got to wait. And it's been like this the last couple months. It's just been a shit show of a market. It really has been. Here's ES. You know, are we going to push higher now? I don't know. So crude, we might get the flush. I mean, that'd be cool. Get ready on crude, because when crude moves, it moves fast. Maybe we'd on crude, we would want, I think, probably like a 30-cent target. Sorry, 60-cent target maybe, with a 30-cent stop. Something like that, I think. Setting my stops here in case crude sets up. All right, so crude could give us a good little opportunity to buy down here, especially if we smash down to 81 and get a little exhaust. So I've got crude open on the top step DOM. It's kind of what I'm interested in, because sometimes crude will just, once it starts slipping through a support, it'll just go, it'll just, it's weird. It's like a zipper. Just, I don't know. Crude's got a, it's when you watch it, it's got strange price action. Anyways, I got to get my DOMs ready. So let's have, for the stop loss on crude, I'd risk about 30 cents. Target would be about 60 cents. So, and I'd be doing 3 contracts, obviously, as always. Make sure here, 3-3. Yeah, I got my rhythmic open. You got to have a checklist, guys, because there's just a lot to do. That would be on. So if I take this crude trade down here, we'll see. We got some time to think about it, but it would be on this account here for rhythmic. Let's see. The balance of 792. The one we took on bonds, it would be that account that we would maybe take the crude trade on. And then on top step, it'll just be one of my funded accounts over here. We got maybe 30 cents. That would be, what would that be? That would be Yeah, that's only about $1,000 of risk on 3 contracts, so that's not too bad. I think that's quite all right. And on the Top Step account, it'll be on my funded number 3 right there. I think that would be okay. I think so. I think we're ready to maybe rock and roll here with crude. If we can get a nice little flush down in here, $81. Crude's a tricky market. Can't say I'm great at trading it, but you know, there's a lot of support down here, so give it a shot. Keep an eye on it. We still got quite a few contracts to go. But what you want to see here is like this here. You see, this is the crude. These are 25,000 contract bars. So you've got this congestion range up here on crude. And got a really nice extension trend line right here down at the 81 level. So if we were to get that flush, I just think with the overall environment right now, we go here on crude. Let's see here. So, I mean, you've got a lot of temporary support here. Now, it doesn't mean we won't break and go all the way back down here. We could. But crude, usually, if you get a flush, you know, you can, it'll see a bit of a reaction. So, we'll see. You've got kind of a strong resistance pattern here, but you've also got a lot of support down here into 81. So, we're going to keep an eye on crude. I'm still more interested in shorting ES up into that 52.95 area. So even though you do have some support here, I just don't feel confident in buying support right now that I mean, bonds are lower. Let's look at the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ is holding this support for now. So it's kind of choppy, as we said. Here's the Dow. Here's the bonds. I mean, look, guys, gold has literally done nothing in about the last hour. It's been stuck there. Silver grinding lower. I think crude's the one to take a shot on if we get a good buy opportunity down here. If crude can just flush, kind of like this one here. This is, you know, something like this. You see back here how you're in this range, and then you just get a flush, and you can buy that for, you know, you can see that right there. If you bought it at 80, you know, 40, 60 cents. That's kind of what I'd be looking, you know, looking for a flush down here, maybe to 81 to get a little bit of a reaction back up here to maybe 81.80. I make 60, 70, 80 cents on 6 contracts, 3 contracts on each account. 1 U profit, 1 Top Step. So let's see if crude can flush. Still got some time, 25,000 contract bars, so we're only on 8,000 contracts here. So we got some contracts to play out. Meanwhile, so far today, just down 187 on a bonds break even that we managed well, cut it early, and would have been a bigger loss. So happy about that. Also down 187 on one of my Top Steps. That's fine. Overall up about 8 grand on these funded accounts over the last couple weeks since they've started. Haven't blown one yet. Can't say that I won't blow one. Probably going to blow many of them, but at least I want to wait for what I think is a really good opportunity to go huge and either risk, you know, risk blowing the account, which if I do, that's fine, but I at least want to give myself a good chance for a nice winner, you know? That's why I'm just trying to wait for good setups in the market. It's just been shit the last, you know, for a while. So here's ES. While we're waiting for crude, I do have a lot of confidence in shorting up in here. I think that'll be one of the good ES setups to wait for. If this can, for example, this current bar, remember these are 80,000 contract bars. So if this can punch up here, you know, maybe above that high, that would set up a really nice pocket here with the near highs. And then you'd be firmly in congestion. I'd look to short, you know, for the move back down to the other side of the range. So that's kind of what I'm looking for on ES, because right now you can see I mean, the euro was up, you know, 0.5% against the dollar, but now the dollar's clawed back to even. So you got a stronger dollar, you got weaker bonds, rising rates. I think that's going to make it tough for stocks to break out to the upside today. So that's why I want to short. And this NASDAQ here, I liked this resistance level earlier. I really did. But at the time to short here, I didn't have the information here on the scoreboard that I have now with bonds and the dollar because, you know, they all kind of drop together. But now I think we do have the game plan in place. If we can get a pop on the indices, look to get short. And if we can get a drop, a flush on crude, then we're going to look to get long. If crude gives us the flush, you can already see it's kind of... Well, crude's one of these markets, it just loves... I don't know, it loves to just flush. I find that crude, if you just wait for the flush, you get much better entries. I would never recommend trading crude, either long or short, until you get some sort of a flush, right? So if you want to go long, wait for a flush to the downside and then go long. Don't just go long in the range. I don't know. Crude can be a frustrating market to trade. That's why I wait for the flushes now on crude. I find you have a much higher hit rate waiting for the flush. And crude oil trader, also one of my best students. He's amazing at crude oil. He trades it way better than me or anybody I know. And he just waits for the flush. And he lines it up with like different OMA levels, but he's just a fantastic trader. So you can learn, see, you share information, you learn from everybody, right? That's what's cool about it. All right, so crude, we still got 15,000 contracts here to trade, so just wait. One of the hardest part about trading so many funded accounts is that, you know, you've got all these different DOMs open, and then you got, every time I switch an account, like, okay, now I'm interested in crude, or now I'm interested in, you know, the NASDAQ or whatever. I've always got to just adjust all the stops and limits, and kind of a pain. Although on Rhythmic, you can kind of save them. And I'm sure on the Quant Tower, I can probably set up the strategies. I got to get more familiar with the Quant Tower so I can just go, boom, I want my crude oil strategy or whatever. So I'm going to have to pay attention to that because Rhythmic you can. Got my Rhythmic DOM open over here. I know there's a way to hide my UProfit because I've got all my account numbers here, but on the Rhythmic DOM they show, which is why I don't really want to show my funded account numbers because I don't know if somebody can like break into it or not. Better to not risk it. Anyways, you can see over here in the far, see this Rhythmic over here, the UProfit Chicago area. This is their special server for your funded account. If you're on their UProfit challenge, you'll be trading on the Rhythmic paper trading server. You won't be trading on this one. Anyways, so let's see what happens. So ES, we still got some time to think about it. Yeah, see NQ, I think, even though you had some support here and I elected not to buy it for all the reasons I outlined, you know, I think that's smart. And remember, you never really know what's going to happen. You really don't. You just have to sort of, you know, try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. The puzzle's always changing, and you just got to look for those moments where things come together and like, boom, you know, you got a good trade, you take it. Sure, still those lose, but at least those are the ones that are going to give you like 60-40 odds. And then you can do very well. All right, so this is ES, sorry, this is NQ. We still got some time. So what we'd love to see is a little bit of divergence. NQ breaking down, stronger dollar, weaker bonds, rising rates, and then you'd want to see ES, you know, pop up here. That would be a moment where you're like, okay, you got that short, right? So that's what we could be looking for. All right, let's check the news on Zero Hedge. Checking out the news here. Just reading the news, guys, while we wait for stuff to set up. So here's ES. I'm just waiting for a pop to short. NQ is dropping so far. We'll see if that continues. Dow, I'm waiting to short up here somewhere, maybe. Kind of up into this level. That's what I've been waiting for. Ultra bonds. Not really interested in anymore. I came into the day with a bias to buy support here, and I did and took a small loss. And right now, I'm not really sure what they want to do. I mean, gold literally hasn't moved in about an hour and a half. Silver is tough to read right now. And crude, well, we were looking for a flush, but apparently so was everybody else, and jumped in front of it and got it at 81.40. So anyways, that's fine. You may still flush down there. You never know with crude. Anyways, so ES is the one right now. Maybe Dow over here if it punches higher. Keep an eye on ES. Maybe we'll get our ES storm up and ready. Top step. And we have to switch. This is what I got to do. I got to switch these. 40. Boom, boom. And I got to go to my UProfit ES account. That's on 3 contracts. Switch my bracket to the ES bracket. Beautiful. Just kind of getting everything set here. All right, so I'm interested in shorting ES if we get, you know, any kind of a pop up here to 52.95 or so. Other than that, guys, it's been an incredibly uneventful day. It might just be a shit week with Easter coming up. Be a good week to not do a lot. We'll have to see. Friday, I believe everything's pretty much closed. I don't think the prop firms even let you trade on Friday, so... yesterday was pretty uneventful. Today so far is pretty uneventful. I'll trade the whole week, but hopefully we get a little bit of volatility because nuts. Been a pretty, I mean, frustrating couple of months trading. I mean, I'm not losing money or anything. I'm still making money, but there just aren't really any good opportunities I've seen. It's just been, I think it's a good environment where a good environment to lose money for most people who haven't been through these types of environments. For me, I've been through a lot of them, so I know when the market slows down like this, it's better not to force your will on the market. It's better you just have to wait for it to pick back up, and then you're ready to hammer it again. But in the meantime, it can be pretty, I don't want to say frustrating, but it's just annoying that you just don't have the same amount of setups. And then you got to be extra patient. So it's kind of a lesson in extra patience. I think we're in that kind of a cycle right now until something kind of breaks. Anyways, still have some good trading. Yesterday, like I said, made 1850. Probably should have made more yesterday. It was kind of not a bad day. I would have made more, but I lost $1,000 on ES overnight here, but then I made $1,000 back on ES here buying. And then I did buy here, but I was kind of an idiot, moved my stop to break even a little too soon. And what would have been probably like $1,000 winner on 3 contracts ended up being a break even. So that cost me about $1,000 yesterday. That was unfortunate. What else did I do yesterday? Platinum, I had a couple of decent wins on yesterday, but I'm not going to really trade platinum on the funded accounts anymore because the contract size is just not big enough. So you have the limit of only 3 contracts per account. So it's better to trade the markets with the big contract size. But I did have a little bit of a win on platinum yesterday. What else? And I think I had a win. Yeah, I had one win on the NASDAQ. So yesterday here, right here, I bought the NASDAQ there and I took profit, I think right in here. I still took profit a bit too early there. I just got distracted. I had a lot I was doing yesterday, which is why I couldn't live stream either. Anyways, I trade much better when I'm focused and I don't have to babysit and do all that kind of stuff with my child when it's tough to take care of a 4-year-old while you're trading, even though my wife does that most of the time. But sometimes, like yesterday, she just wanted to come in and get attention. And, you know, as a father, you want to not ignore the kids. So I don't know. Probably set me back a few grand in profit yesterday, but what are you going to do? It's just the way it works. And today she hasn't come in and bothered me one time. And of course, this is a day where it's like nothing's going on. Oh, that's trading. All right, let's see what's going on. So we're waiting. I keep repeating myself, but I do that because I have to for myself. Otherwise, I forget what the hell I'm waiting for. Like, wait, what am I doing again? Because when you stand here like this for hours on end, I get a standing desk. If you don't keep notes or repeat things, you lose track of what's going on, especially when you're tracking all these markets. So that's why I just constantly reiterate what I'm looking for. So ES, we're looking to short up here, 52.95-ish. Don't know if we'll get there. That's what we're waiting for. NQ, same thing. I think it's looking heavy if we get a bounce. The Dow, we already know. I'm kind of looking, because if you look at the daily again on the Dow, let's bring up the daily chart here for the Dow. Right here. I'm looking for a potential short, maybe up into this 39,880 level, maybe. That's why I haven't been interested in the Dow right here, because I'm kind of waiting for it to give me an exhaust pattern up here. So, for example, if we got a little punch out like that, that might suck in a bunch of longs. That's where I'd consider going short like that, especially given what we're seeing with the stronger dollar, falling bonds, rising rates. I like those trades that really jump out at you. There's something special with the trade. That's what those are the ones I like to wait for. All right, so ES. Okay, this would be nice if we get a little pop on ES. Crude still there. Yeah, so here's NASDAQ's about to close here. Maybe if bonds rally, get shut back down. So I think that's going to be the trade I kind of need to take today is probably a short in ES. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those days where like there's no volatility, so you still have to kind of use the same risk to get into the trade, right? You got to risk 5 points, 10 points. In my case, I'll risk 10 E-mini points. But then can I get my 20 points if I'm right? I don't think so, not on a day like this. So then you're also like, well, why would I put the 10 points at risk if I don't think I can earn anything? That's something floating around in my head. Well, let's see. I think I'm willing to try to maybe short up around 52.95 if we get a good pop up there. Still got about 20,000 contracts left till this particular bar closes, but it's one that could be interesting for us. NASDAQ's going to close here shortly. Not really seeing a pattern. Dow, we're waiting. Crude is back in the middle of the range. So just kind of waiting on potential. See here the euro right here. You see how the euro was getting strong against the dollar. Now the dollar is recouping, and the weekly looks pretty weak right here. I mean, the dollar looks strong, so I think that should weigh on stocks. I think that's why you're seeing stocks chop around. It's like that song, chop around, chop around, chop up, chop up, chop up, and get down. Gotta entertain myself with some old hip hop. All right, see if we get an opportunity to go short at some point. All right, we are waiting, maybe short. So we got about 17,000 contracts left till this one closes. NASDAQ's going to close here in a moment. Let's say you got quite a lot of resistance on the NASDAQ. Up here. So okay, the Dow is trying to give us our little double top short, but kind of want it a little higher on the Dow. I like where we are better on ES, especially if we can get a punch up here, because on the ES we're already at the extension inside the pocket here, you see, kind of already up in this area. The Dow hasn't quite tagged it yet, so that's why I like ES up here. NQ could be kind of like UB here. I think UB could punch up and then punch lower. So NQ, I think you got some resistance right here. I'm not going to take it because, again, you're in the middle of the range, and I really don't want to take a trade like that when you're trending, but it does look kind of weak. So ES, if we could just get a little more pop up here, maybe we could go short. Do have a 5-year auction at 1 p.m., but I'll be done by then. We do have 11 o'clock liquidity coming in right now. That does. Get back in. News. I don't think it's a bad here. Again, the dollar is still all right. Bonds are still. You have that strong durable goods order. I think it's going to chop around. I'm probably going to have to take a shot here. I'm not nuts about it, but I don't know. It feels like I these might just be the markets that we've got for now, you know. So you gotta kind of take the shot. Still pick your spots, but too picky, you'd be waiting around forever. Kind of a fine balance. You don't want to just take stupid trades, but you don't want to wait around forever. I think if I can get up here, this is where I'm interested in shorting. Kind of like this here. See yesterday? So you just rolled over, popped up, and then kind of trailed off. I'm kind of looking for something like that, maybe. So we got about 8,000 contracts now. When this closes, then we'll have our answer if we're going to go short. I think the NASDAQ has a bearish pattern there, so that's nice. The Dow, I think, is pushing higher, diverging for now, but I may short up there later. Ultra bonds are not really bouncing yet, which is good. Gold's dropping. I think that's good. Silver's, crude's just doing absolute. I mean, guys, this is just incredible. So yeah, I think there's just not a lot of oomph in this market. So it looks to me like we should stay range bound, you know. Should. You never know what's going to happen. I have no idea, but I think we can take a little bit of risk. So we got our correct top step account is open here. Potential short. I got U-Profit on my other screen. And I would probably short 3 contracts on both of those just to see what will happen. Again, though, we need to pop up a little bit. Oh, gosh. Oh, Sweden sucks, guys. I don't know. If you like the outdoors and you like sun and healthy living, Sweden sucks. All right. So NASDAQ dropping. It's kind of what I thought, but now it'd be nice if ES could just give us a little bit of a divergent pop and we can get short. There's your Dow close. It's kind of a nice little, take out those highs. Probably not a bad spot to short the Dow there, but I like ES better overall right now. And guys, we haven't moved since the open. Look. 2 straight hours of just no price action at all to speak of. And it's been like that across all these markets. NASDAQ, Dow, bonds, gold, silver, crude doing nothing. My God. So I'm open to shorting ES, but I really not here in the middle of the range. I mean, the range bound playbook, I need to short up here toward the outer bound, at least here, this outer bound. I'm not asking it to go back here, but somewhere up here. Ugh. Gonna get a close here in 3,000 contracts. NASDAQ's trying to stabilize. Short it if we can get up here. 3,000 contracts. A couple thousand contracts here. Dollars made a nice comeback against the euro. Bonds are just doing nothing, but down a little bit, slightly higher rates. Also, you see, we need to go a little higher because I don't want to short against this high connector trendline support right here. So if this goes higher, it'll move that up there. Then it'll become resistance. Whereas right now it's support. So these are the pesky details. 1,000 contracts left. $400 contracts. Gonna need a little bit of a burst up. Yeah. We didn't get the push. Wow. All right, guys, I'm going to have to, I think it's not a bad little short pattern here at all on ES. I wouldn't be surprised to see this drop, but I can't take it because we've been at 52.90 for 2 hours. I mean, it's just incredible. So I'm going to shut this down and I'll check back in heading into the close. Probably, I want to say 1 p.m., maybe 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Eastern. If we see some volatility, I'll fire the live stream back up because I'll be trading myself anyways. But right now I've been at this for about 3 hours and it's like watching grass grow. There's nothing going on. So thanks for joining me. And I'll be back either this afternoon if there's volatility. So check your charts. If you see volatility, there's a good chance I'll be back. If not, I'll be back for the Open tomorrow, New York Open. I was gonna trade London and stream it, but it's just too much for me, guys. So I need to sleep during London and I will stream and trade during New York, which would be fantastic. Okay, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.